Hello and welcome to the live stream. In this video, I'm going to be talking about some of the new features that have just been released in TubeBuddy. Well, one in particular, actually, which is bringing AI into the TubeBuddy interface to allow us to make better titles, or at least to help with crafting those titles. There's also some other updates that have come out in TubeBuddy, probably in the last couple of months, really, but it's just not something that I've covered on my channel before, whereas I have talked about some of the features. So they've just made some of the existing features a little bit more accessible. So for those of you who don't know exactly what TubeBuddy is, I'll just sort of quickly give it a very brief overview of that. When you are in YouTube Studio, so TubeBuddy is a third-party service that you sign up to that can basically help you with your YouTube descriptions, titles, things like that for a very basic level. But then it can also do a lot of other things like help you with split testing, and we'll look at that in a little bit later actually, because they've made that a lot more accessible, and then several other different things. And it really does feel part of the actual YouTube interface. So when you are in YouTube Studio, you'll see this little TubeBuddy logo in lots of places throughout the throughout YouTube Studio. And in fact here, this is the one up the top is the sort of main menu. So if I click up here, this will bring up a TubeBuddy menu that you can see lots of the different things that you can do with it. So there are some tools that are embedded into YouTube, such as the Keyword Explorer to help you find keywords to use in your titles and in your descriptions, SEO Studio to help with search engine optimization, video topic planner, and so on. There's also a whole series of website tools. So these are ones that are actually outside of the studio. And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today, because some of these tools now are a lot more accessible within the YouTube Studio, just as all of these other things that I've mentioned are as well. So we'll go through those a little bit later as well. The other places where you'll find the TubeBuddy integrated into everything is, first of all, in the content section. So over on the left hand side of YouTube Studio, if we go into content where you can see all of your videos, you'll see that there is a little TubeBuddy icon here. So here you can do things like find and replace, a really valuable tool to be able to go through and find and replace text in your descriptions, in your titles. So if you've got to, want to update things that are in your sort of stock text, if you like, the default text that is in your YouTube descriptions, you can go and do that all from here. Various other different things like bulk editing to cards and so on, and lots of other different things. I've covered all of this in various other videos on my channel, so I'll leave a link to the playlist in the description for that. The other place that you'll find it is actually alongside each of the videos. So if I go to a video which is live, for example, like this one, there's a little TubeBuddy icon there, and then there's lots of different tools in here. So it really is embedded all the way throughout the sort of process of using YouTube Studio. Another one place where you will find it as well is actually on the page where you upload your videos. You can see here we've got a little TubeBuddy icon. So here you can do lots of different things, applying templates, copying cards, end screens, and so on. And then also you have this little checklist, which I don't tend to use as much now, but when I was first starting out, I have to say that this was like a lifeline really, because it sort of guided me through things that I needed to do. So you've got some best practices for each video, and it'll tell you, how many of those that you've done. So, get a like on Facebook, add info cards, add tags to your title, and then there's other ones here that have been completed for this. So, reply to a comment, add more tags, heart comment, add captions, and so on. So this is really sort of helping and guiding you on that process of telling you what you need to do with that video upload. There's also a couple of tools in here. This is a fairly recent one, which we'll look at in a moment as well, adding chapters. So we'll talk about that. But then you can generate thumbnails from here as well. There's also lots of things related to tags. So for the tags that you add into your videos, you can either copy a set of tags. So like, for example, this video was all about plugins on Stream Deck. So maybe if I'm going to be making other videos on Stream Deck, I may want to just batch copy all of those tags, and then I can save them. And then if I want to add those into another video, I can just come and click on import, and it'll have a list of all the different tags. So here you can see I've got some for various different things that I do. And so that saves time. Rather than having to go and manually add in all those tags, you can just do it with the click of a button. So that's another little time saver there. It also helps by actually recommending tags for you as well. So if you want to just go and add something in, you can just click on one of these to just go and simply add it into the tags. So all of which to say, there is a really deep integration of TubeBuddy into all things YouTube, and it's, I find, a really powerful tool. I've left a link in the description where you can go to get a free trial of that over on my website, and also also in the chat comments as well. But I find it really helpful for lots of different things, from when you're just starting out on YouTube all the way through to when you want to start going and have some content there that you want to refine. So what I want to talk about today, though, is this new little place where it features, which is right up here in the top above the description and title. And this really actually makes it a lot easier to get to the split testing. So split testing was something that previously, if I just close this down for a minute, previously it was one of the web interfaces. So I mentioned before that, or in the TubeBuddy web interface, I should say. I mentioned before that in this little TubeBuddy drop-down menu, you can see here we've got this website tools. That will take you through to actually this specific tool, but this is YouTube now in the TubeBuddy in the TubeBuddy website. And here you've got these different tools. And so what these look like is something like this when you go into it. So you've got like a health report, channel valuation. I don't think I'm quite there to need to worry about that just yet. Retention analyzer, usage stats, Launchpad, where you can look at dashboard, checklist, and so on. And then the one that I was just talking about, though, was, where's it gone? A/B testing. So this is a really powerful tool, and it is important to do A/B testing if you want to sort of look at how you can refine the content that you've got, because it's all very well sort of creating new content, but actually if you can sort of refine the things that you've got, then you can actually increase the sort of number of visitors to that existing content, and then also, you know, presumably then hopefully if you've done your videos well, then you'll increase your number of subscribers that way as well. So it's definitely something not to be neglected, you know, all of the old content. And so, as I say, one of the great ways to do this is to actually use split testing to go and test out variations of titles, descriptions, thumbnails, and so on, to try and see if you can make an improvement there. And basically what TubeBuddy does is, let's look at some of these examples where I've got a new style of thumbnail that I wanted to test out. And so I ran this test with two of them side by side, and TubeBuddy basically sends some people to a video, or shows some people a video with one thumbnail, and for other people it shows a video with a different thumbnail. And then it runs this test over a period of time until it's got something statistically significant to say, okay, this thumbnail gives you a better click-through rate than this thumbnail. And so that's the sort of process here of A/B testing one thing against another. There's something quite interesting about looking at this for me as a data geek, but also there's a very important thing to highlight here, which is you don't necessarily know what is going to be the best and what is going to work best. And it's only really through testing that you can find that out. Now, a classic case in point here is all of my thumbnails, because my thumbnails always used to look like this. And at some point I thought, you know what, I don't think they actually look very great anyway, apart from the fact that they've got my silly face on them. I thought maybe I could just sort of change the design slightly so that they still look similar, but maybe, you know, just make them look a little bit better, shall we say. And so what I thought looked better was this. I thought that the text stood out better. You can see that these are two thumbnails for the same video. They've basically got the same thing in. I have changed the actual wording in the title there a little bit, in the thumbnail a little bit. But basically I just thought, yeah, white on yellow versus white on the very dark blue there. I thought that popped out more. I thought it looked cleaner. I thought that looked a little bit sort of pale and washed out, although, you know, it's working with my face, so what are you going to do about that? But but I just thought that one, you know, that style looked better. And so what I did was I went and changed a whole load of thumbnails. So here I changed this one to this one, and this one to this one, and this one to this one. So there's me thinking, if I look at those side by side, I think, yeah, this one looks better. Well, it turns out that the YouTube viewers didn't agree, or the people who clicked on it didn't agree, because what you can see here is that the original for this particular video had a click-through rate of 2.33%, and this one had a click-through rate of 1.83. This one, 1.92, the original, the variation, 0.7, 4.6, 3.96. So you can see that in all these cases, the old style one actually had a higher click-through rate. So in terms of, was that change a good change to make? No, it was a bit of a failure really, because it didn't outperform the original. So there's me thinking it looked better, but actually it didn't give me a better result. So it is really important to sort of test these things out to see what is working and what isn't working. And you may think you've got an idea of what looks good, and I would have always said that I knew what looked better, but clearly I didn't in this case. The other thing that I always mention in these specific cases where I'm talking about these click-through rates is that You may think, well, it's not much of a difference. 1.83% to 2.33, it's only like a 0.5% difference. So what is the big deal there? But it isn't actually, because what you're looking is you've got to look at one with relation to the other. So actually 2.33 is in fact it tells you here, look, the original CTR was 27% higher than the variation. Now in this case, look at this. The original was 1.92, the variation was 0.74%. So the click-through rate of the original was actually 160% higher. So in real terms, that means that if I was to run this one versus this one, the original would actually get 160% more clicks. That means 160% more views for that given video. So it is actually really important. So don't let the very small differences fool you, because it can actually make a really big difference to what you're doing. Like this one, another one, this one about video in waiting room in Zoom, 65% better for the original. And also bear in mind that, in this case, I'm trying to lead people through to my Zoom masterclass as well. So in these videos, part of the reason for them is, give the information, but lead people through to the courses and things that I do as well. So in that case, 65.9% more people are actually seeing it with that original one. So it is a really important thing to get right there. I'll just quickly say hello to Aubrey in the chat. Great to see you here. And hello, Bernhard as well. Great to see you here as well. I don't think I've seen you in the stream before, actually. So great to see you here. And if you've got any questions about any of this as we're going through, do feel free to shout out and ask as well. So just coming back to TubeBuddy then, this split testing is something that was always here, but it was over on the web interface. And I always felt like there was a bit of a leap to make to actually get into the web interface. It's not quite as sort of integrated as everything else that we've got in here. For example, the keyword explorer, we can just click and that'll bring that up in here. So if I had a title for new AI features in TubeBuddy, for example, I could type that in and click explore, and it's a really great way of researching. There you go. That tells me that is a great, excellent choice. That's probably what I should have called this video, in fact, isn't it? And then it tells you the weighting and so on. So this is just one of these tools that is the ones that are built into YouTube Studio. They're really accessible, whereas the split testing was not. Well, that is essentially the thing that has changed now. So if I come back over to that video that I was talking about, now we've got right at the top here, this test alternatives that I was mentioning earlier. And this actually gives you a whole new interface for the split testing. And as you can see, it is now just embedded in the studio. So here you can say what you want to test. Either you can test the thumbnail, the title, the description, or the tags. Now, if you do a thumbnail, that's basically going to take you through to an interface similar to the one that I just showed you, where you're basically going to test out and switch out a different image. But here what you can do is you can either run the test until it reaches statistical significance, and I would recommend to do that one, because you don't want to run a test for just a fixed number of days, 14 days, and then if you get like 3 views on it, well, if you only get 3 views on a thing in 14 days and 2 of them do one and 2 of them do the other, you're going to think, oh, well, that one actually gets much more, views or whatever. But it doesn't work like that. You're better to just run it until it is statistically significant. That's what you want. You want to make sure you've got a good number of people clicking on it first before you draw any conclusions. You can also set when you want the thing to start. And then if we click on next, here you would just drag and drop your other thumbnail on here, and then that's it. Just click on start test, and then it is going to run those 2 things side by side. It's really powerful to do this, and having it built into the browser, into the YouTube Studio, I should say, rather, I think is going to make it a lot more. I'm certainly going to use it more, because it's going to be so much easier to just go and, to run these tests. There's going to be less friction involved in it. But let me just come back out of here, because that is still not quite the headline feature that I want to talk about today. It's down here where we've got title, description, and tags. If I go to title now, so let me just uncheck thumbnail. Here's another thing, by the way. When you are running split tests, you can see that I can actually select multiple things. I can select the title, thumbnail, and description, and I could change them all. The thing about that is you're not really going to know which one is the one that is driving the change, because people may have been swayed by the thumbnail or the title, probably less so the description, because that's further down, isn't it? But people are seeing the title and thumbnail first of all. So I would recommend only ever test one of these things at a time. So run a split test, one thing at a time, and see which one has an impact, and then run the test for the other one. But if I come over to title, and now click on next. Then if it moves over, there we go. What it's done here is, I've just skipped over the time one, but what it's done here is it's actually generating these titles for you. So where we've got the original title here is 5 Stream Deck plugin actions to use when live streaming. Here we've got 5 Stream Deck plugin actions. Oh, that's the original. This is the ones here. 5 Stream Deck plugin actions you can use to make your live streams better. And this is the AI aspect of it. It is actually generating these titles for you. So it's a great way to actually come up with these alternatives. And obviously it's got things working behind the scenes there that may be thinking about this in a different way than you are. And just as I was mentioning before about my thumbnails, where I thought that I had a better idea of how to make them look. Yeah, this is one of those things where it's sort of taking you out of the equation and maybe giving some of these a try. I'm going to certainly go through a lot of my videos and try out some of these alternative titles just to see how effective they are. And then you can just click on here. If you don't like any of those, you can refresh them as well. So let's see if it generates another one. In fact, I'll start this test now and then I'll report back. We'll see how this specific video does. So 5 Stream Deck plugin actions that will up your live streaming game. See, that does sound better, doesn't it? 5 Stream Deck plugin actions to use when live streaming. That one sounds a lot more positive, doesn't it? 5 Stream Deck plugin actions to use for the ultimate live streaming experience. Okay, I'm going to try that one. So I'm just going to click on plus there so you can see how it's changed it, and then click on start test. And that will then start running that test. So that is now going to be back to be split testing this particular video with the original title and the new title. I'll just come back into this though. This one tells me that a test is scheduled, and then it takes me over to there. So that is now going to show me all of the results. So now you can see we're back into where was it now? We're back into the split testing that we looked at earlier. So now if I refresh this, you'll see that I'll have that new split test will be up here. There you go. That's the new one that is going to be starting soon. So what I'll do is I'll come back into a different video now. So if I come back out of here, where's my channel? Just go and pick a random video. And I'll just go through some of these other ones because there are other tests you can do apart from title and thumbnail, which are worth looking at. I need to get creating some more of my regular content on this channel. You can see I've got lots of my my podcast and shorts in here. It's a long time since I made a proper video. So I'm going to come into here, apart from the live streams, obviously. So here we go to this test alternatives again. I'll just run through the other couple that we've got in there. So you've also got description. And so if we click on that one, here you can see we can set the time just as we did before. And then here you can see that it's got the original and the old description. I haven't really played around with split testing of descriptions as much because I tend to think that it's obviously the title and the thumbnail that is going to play a bigger part, but I probably should do because I'm talking about the fact that I love data and geeking out on this stuff, but I haven't actually tried that one as such just yet. The other one that I was a little bit surprised to see in here actually is tags. Now, the reason I'm surprised to see tags is because if I just pop out of here for a moment, I think a lot of people put emphasis on tags, but actually YouTube sort of tells you about this themselves. Where is it? Down here. So here what it says is this is above the tags box in the videos. It says tags can be useful if content in your video is commonly misspelled. Otherwise, tags play a minimal role in helping viewers find your video. So I think people fill the tag box with tags that they think are, relevant to their video and all sorts of different, perfectly spelled tags that they think they are tagging. But actually it does tell you there it's for commonly misspelled words. Otherwise, tags play a minimal role in helping viewers find your video. And that's important really. And then we'll see that now. If I go into test alternatives and I go into tags, what you'll see is the tags here. Go to the next one. So what you'll see by the suggestions is they've got, if this one hasn't actually got many, the last one I looked at had quite a lot, but they were all more like the misspelled things. So here you can see tags to test, Stream Deck pedal, Stream Deck, And I suppose there is a distinction you see between people who type Stream Deck as 2 words, people who type it as 1 word, Stream Deck pedals, Stream Deck pedal. So that one actually, there's no specific misspellings in here. With some of them though, you'll see that there are words that, where they're just genuinely, spelt completely incorrectly. And so it will recommend those. But there's a good point here about TubeBuddy, which is that I've found that it's been a good educational tool, because in going through and looking at what it is doing, it helps you to sort of make yourself better at just doing these things from the outset. I mean, that was the case for me with, I mentioned the checklist earlier on, the one that you get here. When I was just starting on YouTube, those were really great little cues to tell me, all right, these are the things that I need to do in future going forward. So it's really helpful from that point of view. So that is the sort of the new thing that was added just yesterday or the day before, was this this button just here, and then you'll see that there is a test running. But I did want to just also mention that it was a little while ago, not too long ago, but it wasn't featured in any of the. I've done a whole series of TubeBuddy tutorials, but this little tab here has been added since then, and that also makes some of these features more accessible. And one of them is the video A/B tests. So this previously used to link to the web as the TubeBuddy website as opposed to the YouTube one, whereas now clicking on that will just bring up this thing as well. So you can essentially access it from up here, just where we did, or you can access it from this sidebar menu as well. I thought it'd be useful to just go through some of these other ones though, because I think some of these are ones that people are, they're not the sort of, what is it, the sort of flagship features of TubeBuddy, but they are really useful. So let's go and have a look at some of these. First one is chapter editor. This is a really good feature actually, because one of the things that I always used to do with my videos was I'd have to go and watch them back to go through and then make a note in some notes app or whatever about the chapter markers that I wanted to put in, and then go and put those back in the description. Well, now that is built in with TubeBuddy. Again, this is not a new feature, but it's I've not covered it on the channel, I don't think, and it's certainly easily accessible from here. What this allows you to do, again, it's another one of these sort of like popovers that's just visible. Whoops. Let's stop that guy talking. One of these features that is sort of embedded on top of the YouTube interface. So I really like that. But basically it allows you to watch the video back, and you can watch it back in double speed, thankfully as well. And then as you're going through, if I was to just click play, let me just turn him down a little bit. As the playhead is going through, you'll see that after it gets, I think you've got to be 30 seconds in to watch. But there you can see the little plus symbol has appeared. And if I click on plus there, it's going to add a chapter marker. And it's got the timestamp there. And then I can just type in whatever that chapter is. Now you can see that I'm quite lucky I chose this one, because I've been a good boy and actually put in my chapter markers. Not all videos have got them yet. But it makes it really easy to go through and do this. And then if I just delete this one, once you've added all of those chapter markers in, you can do a couple of things. So copy them to clipboard or add them to the video, and we'll look at what that looks like. But once again, it's got this little checklist. So TubeBuddy's good at this, at giving you little cues and directions as to things you need to be aware of. So minimum of 3 chapters. All chapters must be at least 10 seconds apart, so you can't just put loads of them close together. Bear in mind what chapters are for as well. These are the little marks that appear on the timeline of the video, and they sort of have the title associated with them, and as somebody's moving along, the title will change. These are useful for search. So if somebody types something in Google, for example, let's say changing profile with a foot switch, if somebody did search for that in Google, sometimes in Google search on the web, you'll find that there'll be a video and there'll be a specific portion of it sort of pre-highlighted. Well, that's taking that information from these chapter markers. So that is why they are important. They're also important just for sort of navigation, people sort of skimming through. But what YouTube doesn't want you to do is just, fill a whole series of lots of tags, just thinking that you're, sort of gaming the system, as it were, by having all of these different chapters. So they do need to be at least 10 seconds apart. And all chapters must have a title. So no point just having a sort of timestamp and then not having anything associated with it. But once you click add to video, then basically it just adds them into the correct format in the video, in the description, I should say, which is, and it will put them usually at the bottom, I think. There they are. So that is the format. That is all that is required to put those chapter markers into a YouTube video. And as I say, ordinarily, before this tool was there, I would go through and watch it on double speed in in my video player, whatever that happens to be, and then make these a list of these in a text document, and then I would paste them in here, or go through and type them in manually at the time. But whatever the case, this really simplifies that process. So Chapter Editor is definitely another great tool here. Now, there's also another couple of tools here for saving time, and this is something that TubeBuddy is good at as well, is actually having various different templates for different things. So they've got two here specifically that are in this area here. One of them is for end screens. So that is, when your video comes to the end and you can put up either, another video that you want someone to watch, a playlist, a subscribe button, or whatever it happens to be. And you may have different formats to that. So I always used to have two videos and a subscribe button that would come up at the end of my my YouTube videos. And in fact, I had that set to the video, one of the video spots, or the little thumbnail spots, was always the video that was best for viewer. Another one was always the playlist that was associated with that particular video. So I was thinking, well, if someone watches a Stream Deck video, it's good to have the Stream Deck playlist over there on the right-hand side. And then I would have the subscribe button. That's what I thought. Once again, checking on the data, that wasn't really the case, because almost no people clicked on the subscribe button at the very end of the video, like literally, 4 in 20,000. Then also the playlist didn't really get a lot of hits, which actually surprised me when I looked at the information. And funnily enough, the best for viewer video also didn't get a massive amount of clicks comparatively, but I did test out one thing, which was actually just linking to a specific video and then mentioning it. And this wasn't my idea. This was finally me just actually letting the information sink in from people like Nick Nimmin and the likes, who have been saying this for ages. Actually lead people directly into another video. So if you, at the end of one video, you can say, and coming up next, there is this video, and tell people to go specifically to watch that and why it is important, then you'll get a massively increased number of sort of click-throughs to another video. So now what I do is I generally just have one video at the end, or one thing that people can link to. So rather than give people three choices, there is just one thing that you are directing people to that very specific thing. So in terms of end screen templates, it's good that you've got that if you want to have something that goes up onto every that's what that is, by the way. The end screen is those videos and subscribe button or whatever you want to do. I don't tend to use that now because I am trying to be more conscious about linking to a specific video rather than just here's a selection of things to look at. The other one is cards. Now, those are the little things that pop up in the top corner. Someone will say, oh, you might want to check this video out. And it's a link out of the video that you're in to another video. One mistake I think I made when I started on YouTube was I thought that would be a really great thing. And I would put those cards all the way through the video, from almost, sort of, if there was 5 of them in a given video, I think the 5 is the limit, then I would have, 5 cards spaced out through the video. Well, what you don't want to be doing, though, is actually sending people away from your video to go and watch another one before, they finished. It's almost going to ruin your viewing figures for that video, because it's going to seem like, oh, people actually left, 20% of the way through. Now, the recommendation for using cards is to, first of all, have them in the last 20% of the video, so that, it's something that when people are getting to that point where they may be sort of trailing off. The other thing that I have tried doing with these as well is going and looking at the analytics for specific videos which have got a specific drop-off point. There might be an area where you're looking at the stats. In fact, we can just go and have a look at the stats for this one, for example, and I can show you what I'm talking about rather than just trying to explain all this. If I go into analytics for this video, then here you can see there is a drop off. This is the time period of the video. So this is a 5-minute video. You can see that we got that initial drop off where people came in to the video, thought, I don't like the look of this guy, and just left immediately. But then it sort of narrows out. You can see the dotted lines, by the way, on this chart, although they're hidden by this little overlay here. The little dotted lines there, the vertical lines, those are the chapter markers. So that's sort of showing you where some people might be just skipping ahead to the chapter. So this is basically the number of people and the viewer retention. So this is going all the way through the video. You can see that people are slowly dropping off, and then it reaches a point here where there is just like it tanks basically, because everyone realizes it's coming to the end of the video. I've got what I wanted, so I'm out of here, basically, in other words. So what you could do is you could think about saying, right, well, I'm going to put a card at this point that is actually leading to something else that is relevant. And so that is a better use of cards, I think, is to actually use them where you're placing them strategically. Obviously, if you mention something directly in a video that you're sort of referencing another video, then it's great to put them in there. But yeah, I would say use them strategically rather than just peppering a video full of them. But the point about this was, and I digress once again, as often I do, was that in here, you can create templates for cards. So if you've got a selection of cards that you use regularly, for example, you're constantly making videos about a specific topic and you are constantly referencing other things. I mean, it might be a link out to a course, it might be a link out to something else. It doesn't necessarily have to be on YouTube directly. You may have templates for those that you want to just always add those 3 cards in, for example, and then you would just go in and adjust the position. I don't have any of those because, as I've said, I'm trying to be more strategic about when I use cards now. But anyway, those are 2 templates that you've got. These ones down here, though, are, I think, really useful. So you can obviously schedule a video. And I'm just going to come out of here. If I wanted to, if I create a new video, you've got visibility. The options that you've got are either private, which means that somebody needs to have a physical link to the video and be invited to watch it. Unlisted, which means that people can watch it, but only if they've got the link. It's not going to be publicly available. Then there's members only if you've got memberships on your channel. And I suppose this would be a good time to say, if you are interested, I do have memberships open on this channel, and you can find out more about that just by clicking the little join button down below, and you'll find out all about the member perks. One of which, by the way, at the backstage pass level, as I call it, is actually to get access to the backstage area of the Discord, and we have a little hangout before and after the live stream as well. So you'll find that all down there by clicking the join button. But anyway, I digress once again. The members only then are videos that are just for members, and then you've got public, obviously, but you do also have this one which is schedule, and then here you're going to pick a time and a date for it to basically go live, but it is still there as unlisted. So until it goes live, it's technically unlisted. Now, one of the things about that, which you may think is great, because you can schedule something to go live, at a specific time. But one thing that you do as part of the video upload process is you select a playlist. Now, I think a lot of people aren't aware that even an unlisted video, it will still appear in that playlist. And what that means is, if I've made this video, and let's say that this is time critical and I don't want it to be released until a certain point, but it is in the Stream Deck playlist, then anyone who goes through to the Stream Deck playlist would be able to see this because it is in there. So actually the scheduling on that is built into YouTube is a little bit tricky in that respect, because you would have to then think, well, if I really don't want anyone to see it, but I want it to be scheduled, then what I'm better to do is actually schedule it. Don't put it in a playlist, then I'll go back later, and then I'll come back in, and then I'll add the playlist in once it's live, which kind of defeats the whole point of it being scheduled, doesn't it? Well, TubeBuddy has sort of sorted that out for us, because this tool that we've got in here, Scheduled Publish, is actually a much more powerful way to schedule your videos. And by the way, I should be, I hope this is quite obvious, but this is obviously in the video editor. So this is specifically for this video that we're talking about. So you can come down here and click on Scheduled Publish. And here what you can see is we've got the same things. So we've got the published date and time. It also gives us the option to select a time zone as well, rather than being just basically your time zone. So if there's something that's got to go out for someone else's time zone and you don't want to work that out, you could do that there as well. It will also recommend a time for you. So it's going to recommend the time when you get the most views or the highest traffic, I suppose, on your things, the best time for your viewers. So here it is recommending a Tuesday at 11 p.m. would be the best time to schedule a video for my channel, for my viewers on my channel. You can also set the privacy in here as well. So we can, from at a certain date, we can set it from unlisted to public. You can also do the opposite. Let's say you've got a video that you want to put up and it is public, but you want to make it unlisted at that time. Then you can also do it the other way around as well. So you might want to have something up for a limited time, take it down so it's not public, but people who have seen it still have access, or it's still in a playlist, whatever you want to do. So it can go both ways. The other thing here, though, and this is the one that I was talking about, was you can actually also add it to a playlist. So what you would do there then is you wouldn't add the playlist in YouTube when you are uploading the video, the place where I just mentioned. But then in TubeBuddy, you would then come and set that when it goes public, you want to then add it to the playlist. And this will get around that whole thing of something being technically visible in a playlist when you haven't launched it. And then you just come down and you click the playlist that you want to add it to, and then it will just be added to that particular playlist. The other thing that you can do here as well is you can actually add a comment at the time of publish, because in order to comment, it would need to be public. So what you can do here is you can have it so that when it goes public, you're going to add a comment in. And this is one of the things that is a great tool in YouTube, is to actually add a comment underneath the video. And it's another area for you to then use, as well as like your description. So for example, my Rodecaster Masterclass, if I publish a video all about Rodecaster, then I might want to add a comment that is directly underneath that saying, check out the Rodecaster Pro 2 Masterclass at rodecastermasterclass.com. But I could add that in as a comment, and it's just another little area that you've got as the creator to add some extra information in. You can also here set to email a reminder 24 hours before a publish date, or email me a reminder right now. So I don't really do those because I know when these things are going to go out, but it is an option anyway for you if you do want to get that reminder that a video is about to go out. But those really, that add to playlist there and the add comment, are two really powerful features that we've now got with TubeBuddy. And as I say, they're not new features, but they're just a lot more accessible from here. So definitely great little additions there. The next one down at the bottom here, then, the sort of last one on this list, is the what they call vid-to-vid promotion. So make content more bingeable by using your library to promote a specific video. What this allows you to do is, if you've just, let's say, for example, I'm going to be launching my my subscription service to all of my courses, which I am going to be doing. I'm still working out like the details of all of that, but it will mean that just for one single monthly payment, or one monthly payment, you get access to all of the courses rather than having to buy a whole course up front. And so for me, for the people who buy my courses, I've got so many courses that are in the pipeline at the moment. So I've got the Rodecaster Masterclass, the Zoom Masterclass Ecamm course as well, and then there are at least another 10 on the list, and that list is growing as people ask for things. So when I launch that particular offering of a subscription model to give people access to all those courses, I may want to actually do a video to announce it, but then I may also want to link to that video from all of my other videos. Now, I mentioned before that there is find and replace in TubeBuddy, so it is really easy to actually go and find and replace, or to append information. I'll show you how to do that afterwards separately, in fact. But what this allows you to do is, if I it says description promotion, if I click on continue, this allows you to basically add in a link to this video that we're editing right now, add a link to this video into the description of every other video. So it's a really great way to sort of add that in, and you can also take it out again. So don't think that once you've made this change, you then have to go and take all the information back out again. So here it says enter a message. Please watch easy way to switch profiles on Stream Deck Pedal, and here's the link to the video. But obviously you could craft something different. You can go in and edit this. So in the example that I'm just talked about, I might say, you might be interested to hear about my new subscription model for all of my courses, where you just pay one fee and get access to over $1,000 of courses, whatever way I choose to promote that. But then down here, you've got message position, either at the start of description, end of the description, and so you can apply that there. But you can also remove from description as well. So what that means is that you can go and run this thing if you want to alert people to it. Or for example, Black Friday, I'm going to be doing a Black Friday offer on courses and icon packs as well. So I might want to Black Friday, just go and make a quick video about it, add it to all of my other videos, so it's just going to improve those sort of linking through to it. And then on Cyber Monday, when the offer ends, then I could just come and just remove from the description as well. I think it's really powerful to have this sort of thing embedded there into the video, because it means that as you're uploading a video, it just reduces the friction. I'm all about reducing friction for all of these things and making making things easier, because when they're easier, they are more likely to get done. In my case, at least. So that is the way that you can go and add in that text. I will just mention the find and replace though, because it's something that I've talked about before many times on the channel, but it's one of those ones that really does save you time. And when you're starting to think about TubeBuddy and is it worth the money, should I get it or not? I always just look at what time is it saving me, and I know that it has saved me far more time than it has cost. But also, in fact, in one instance, it actually made me more money directly than it cost as well. Because what I did was I came into the bulk and miscellaneous tools up here, and then they've got this find and replace. And it was at a time when I suppose it was about 8 months into my channel, or 6 months in, and I wasn't really being conscientious about putting links to Amazon, my Amazon affiliate links into the products and things like that I use. And what I did was I came in here and used the find and replace. And so you can either find and replace, or you can actually just insert text before or after, or remove text, or add text to end of description or to the beginning of the description. And what I did was I found the text that was my sort of default text that I have at the bottom of all of my descriptions, and then I replaced it with a new bunch of text, which was basically Amazon affiliate links to products and things like that I use. And then I just click continue, and it basically goes through and finds all of those instances of that bit of text. In my case, it was my sort of stock end of my descriptions, and it replaced it with all the new ones. I actually got a very significant uptick in the number of people clicking on my Amazon affiliate links. Who would have guessed it? If you put out more links, more people click. And so the revenue that was generated by that, it's not going to give me retirement money or anything like that. It's only, dollars a month. But at the time, it did actually pay for the cost of TubeBuddy. And on an ongoing basis now, those links are there that was something that I could have done myself manually, but I would have had to go into every single video, found and replaced it. And so that's just one of these things where it will save money. So that thing that we've just looked at is basically appending. The one that we saw actually in the video itself that's embedded into the TubeBuddy interface, that would be the equivalent of this one down here, where you can basically append. So add text to end of description, or insert text at the beginning of the description. So that's where you could find that if you wanted to go through and add something else in, not just actually a link to a specific video. But nevertheless, it's great that, as I say, it just does have it in the actual, the main interface now. So that is all I was going to really run through on TubeBuddy. I'll just quickly say hello. I've been neglecting the comments. Hey, Todd, great to see you. And my friend Michelle, my twice published author friend Michelle. And Orbs, want to know when you come out with this? It won't be long. It'll be probably between Black Friday and Christmas, I would think, because I'm just, Black Friday and the New Year. I'm just trying to figure out some logistics of how to do that, and also how to do it in a way that is fair for everyone, like fair for the people who have already bought courses. So I've got people who have already bought courses, and so I want to think of the best way to do that, so that I can take that into account. If they want to have the subscription model to then get access to all the new stuff, but they've already paid for some, then I just need to weigh up the best way to do that. In summary, then, I really do think that TubeBuddy is a great tool to help with all things on YouTube, and I do like that they're actually bringing some of the tools that were on the TubeBuddy website interface over onto the sort of built-in YouTube Studio, because then it just feel more a part of it, more integrated, and as I say, it's reducing the friction and making it a lot easier to use. If there are no further questions, I'm glad you're excited about that, Aubrey. I think there's a lot of people with the courses where there is a price associated with them, and then when there are multiple courses, I appreciate that these things stack up. So the subscription model will allow people to just dive in, get what they want. If they want, they can just do it for a month, get all the courses and watch them all and binge them, and then leave after a month. Hopefully, people will see that I'm adding more value every month, that it will be worth sticking around for those. But yeah, that's the plan anyway. So yeah, that's all for TubeBuddy. But what I'll do is I'll leave a link over on the this side over here for my other TubeBuddy playlist, where you can find out all about all of the other different tools with TubeBuddy. Thank you to all of my channel members as well. I really appreciate your support. Thanks so much.